Hello dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This is Darshan, lecturer mathematics at Govt Islamia Arts and Commerce College, Sukkur. This is my first lecture for first year class, and the topic which I want to discuss in my lecture is permutation, combination, and introduction to probability, which is chapter number 7 in our textbook. Okay, before going to discuss permutation, combination, and introduction to probability, we have certain terms to discuss, which are counting principles. As we know that permutation and combination are the techniques to counting techniques. So we have certain counting principles. Very first principle is sum principle. It states that if we have two sets A and B, then number of elements in the union of A and B is equal to number of elements in A plus number of elements in B minus number of elements in the intersection of A and B. So this statement, this sum principle can be seen from this figure, from diagram. So this is number of elements in A and number of elements in B. So when we add these both sets A and B, this intersection portion is added 2 times. So we will just subtract it once and we will get the sum principle for any two sets. Next, this sum principle can be defined for two disjoint sets. Say we have two sets A and B which are disjoint sets, then number of elements in the union of A and B is simply the sum of the elements in A and some elements in B. So we discuss disjoint sets means two sets are said to be disjoint sets when their intersection is null set. So A and B are two disjoint sets. It means their intersection is null set, and then this sum principle will be like equation number 2. Okay, we can generalize this sum principle up to n number of the sets. Say we have n sets A1, A2, A3 up to An, and we want to find the number of elements in the union of all these sets. I mean in the union of A1, A2 up to An is equal to number of elements in A1 plus number of the elements in A2 up to number of elements in An. Next we have the product rule. Product rule states that say we have two sets, again same as we have in sum principle, A and B are two sets, then the number of elements in the product of A and B is equal to the product of the number of elements in A and number of elements in B. So this product rule may also be generalized as we generalize sum principle. So say we have n number of sets A1, A2, A3 up to An, and we want to find number of elements in the product of A1, A2 up to An. So some product principle states that number of elements in the product of A1, A2, A3 up to An is simply the number of elements in A1 multiplied by number of elements in A2 multiplied by number of elements in A3 up to multiplied by number of elements in An. Now look at this example. Say we have three sets A, B and C, and we want to find the number of elements in the union of A and B. So look at this, there are four elements in set A, again four elements in set B, and we want to find the number of elements in the union of A and B. According to some principle, number of elements in union of A and B is number of elements in A plus number of elements in B. So how many elements are there in A? There are four elements, which are 1, 2, 3, 4. So number of elements in A plus number of elements in B, and again there are four elements in B, so 4 minus intersection of AB. So how many elements are there in the intersection of A and B? So look at this, we have 2 and 4, again 2 and 4 in B. So there are two common elements in A and B, hence number of elements in the intersection of A and B is 2, and after calculation we got 6 is the number of elements in the union of A and B. Secondly, we want to see that how many elements are there in the union of A and C. Firstly, look at A and C. A is a set in which there are 4 elements, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and again when you will see set C, it has 3 elements, and elements are 6, 7, 8. Look at A and C, we don't have any common element in A and C. So according to definition, whenever the intersection of A and C is null set, which means that there is no common element in any two sets, then these both sets are called disjoint sets. And according to the sum principle, for the number of elements in the union of two disjoint sets, simply add this number of elements in both sets. So there are 4 elements in A and there are 3 elements in C, and we got 7. Next we want to see the number of elements in the product of A and B. According to the product rule, that number of elements in the product of A and B is equal to the number of elements in A. So we have checked that there are 4 elements in A. So 4, and number of elements in B. There are again 4 elements in B. So this is 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and we used both of the rules, product rule and sum rule. Here my first lecture ends, and in second lecture we will discuss more about combination and permutation. Okay, see you in next lecture.